ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልን ተመልካቾቼ፣ አሁን የምሰራላችሁ የአምናውን የ2016 2024 የባዮሎጂ የኤስኤልሲ ፈተና የነበረው የምሰራላችሁ ቦክሌት ኮድ 150 ነው። ኢኩዌሽን ነምበር 1 which of the following research activities has been conducted at Armour Hanson Research Institute? A. Developing drugs for leishmaniasis and tuberculosis. B. Assessing the nutritional status of mothers and babies. C. Improving crop production through genetic engineering. D. Conserving the genes of endemic plants and animals. The answer is A. For developing drugs for leishmaniasis and tuberculosis የሚለው ይሆናል። Question number 2. Which one of the following alternative contains only protein-rich cereals? በፕሮቲን የበለጸጉ ሲሪያልስ ብቻ የሆኑ የትኛው ነው የሚለው? A. wheat, reed, kidney peas and sesame. B. barley, chickpea and groundnut. C. reed, kidney pea, maize and white pea. D. white kidney pea, reed kidney pea and chickpea. The answer must be D. white kidney pea, reed kidney pea and chickpea. This is only rich proteins of cereals. The answer is D. Question number 3. Which one of the following statement is correct about the process of digestion in stomach? A. Bile hydrolysis bigger fat molecules into smaller droplets. B. Amylase hydrolysis starch molecules into maltose. C. Pepsin hydrolysis protein molecules into amino acids. D. Lipase hydrolysis fat molecules into fatty acids and glycerols. The answer is the correct digestion in stomach is question number 3 is 3. C. Pepsin hydrolysis protein molecules into amino acid is the answer. Question number 4. Which one of the following statement is correct about the role of trypsin in digestion? It acts on A. protein in the small intestine. B. starch in the stomach. C. lipids in small intestine. D. maltose in the mouth. The answer is A. For protein in the small intestine is the role of trypsin in digestion. Question number 5. Question number 5. Which one of the following descriptions about absorption of nutrients in the digestive system is correct? A. Fatty acid molecules are absorbed from small intestine directly into the blood. B. Glucose molecules are first absorbed into the lactal and then enter into the blood. C. Glycerol molecules are first absorbed into the hepatic portal veins and then to lactal. D. Amino acid molecules are directly absorbed from small intestine into the blood. The answer is D. Amino acid molecules are directly absorbed from small intestine into the blood is the answer. Question number 6. According to biological scenario, structure is relation to function. Which one of the following is correctly described? A. larynx, hair-like structure for mucus production. B. nasal passage, large surface area with hairs for filtration of air. C. trachea, millions of air sacs for diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide. D. alveoli supported by cartilage for swallowing of food. Question number 6 is the answer is B. nasal passage, large surface area with hairs for filtration of air is correctly described in the structure functions of biological scenarios. Question number 7. As compared to the exhaled air, the inhaled air contains A. 21% oxygen, 0.04% carbon dioxide, and 18% nitrogen. B. 18% oxygen, 20 carbon dioxide, 0.04 nitrogen. C. 70 oxygen, 0.03 carbon dioxide, and 30 nitrogen. D. 16% oxygen, 4% carbon dioxide, and 18% nitrogen. The answer must be question number 7 is A. For 21% oxygen, 0.04% carbon dioxide, and 18% is nitrogen. This is the answer. Question number 8. What is the scientific reason behind the preference of high altitude areas for training by the Ethiopian athletes? Because A. It helps them to increase their lung capacities. B. The oxygen density is higher than the low altitude. C. The RBCs produced are more efficient than those at low altitude. D. It helps them to adapt to the high atmospheric pressures of mountains. The answer is C. For RBCs produce more efficient than the low altitude. Question 9. The binomial system of naming developed by Linnaeus comparison two names. The hierarchical groups are used: A. Kingdom and phylum. B. Genus and species. C. Order and family. D. Kingdom and species. Question 9 is B. Genus and species. Question number 10. How does oxygen is transported in the body? It is transported A. by the blood plasma from the lower concentration to higher concentration. B. from the lungs to actively respiring tissue by hemoglobin of RBC. C. by simple diffusion along concentration gradient from the lungs to heart. D. from the red blood cells to actively respiring tissues by facilitated diffusion. The answer is question 10 is B. from lungs to actively respiring tissues by hemoglobin of RBC is the answer. Question number 11. Which one of the following statements is well justified? Why? The left ventricle is tough in nature. Because it is A. forces deoxygenated blood out of the heart. B. returns oxygenated blood to the heart. C. forces oxygenated blood out of the heart. D. returns deoxygenated blood to the heart. Question 11's are the answer must be A. forces deoxygenated blood out of the heart. This is the heart will be tough in the left side. Question number 12. Assume your friend has a blood type that has no antigen on his red blood cells but produce antibodies A and B, loses blood due to a car accident. If blood transfusion is necessary to save his life, your friend can receive blood from someone with A. blood type A, B. blood type O, C. blood type AB, D. blood type B. Question number 12 is B is blood type O is the answer. Question number 13. Which of the following is the feature of kingdom Monoria? It is a member of reproduced by hypha formation. B. mainly autotrophic and saprophytic. C. unicellular without spreading nucleus. D. multicellular with cell walls. Question number 30. The answer is unicellular without separated nucleus for kingdom of Monoria. The answer is question 14. Which alternative given below is compared of harmful groups from the kingdom Monoria protista, and fungi respectively. A. Trypanosomia, Plasmodium falciparum, and Penicillium. B. Homophilus daciri and Trypanosomia and Tina pedis. C. Trypanosomia, Plasmodium falciparum, and Homophilus daciri. D. Candida albicans and Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Trypanosomia. The answer is 14 is B for Haemophilus daciri, Trypanosomia, and Tina pedis is the answer. Question number 15. Which of the following is a feature of octopi and squid in phylum Mollusca? They have a hard muscular foot with a hard body. B. Lung as a breathing structure. C. Segmented body with head and thorax. D. A well-developed brain. Question number 15 is D. Well-developed brain. Octopi and squid in phylum Mollusca. 16. The ability of carnivores to survive in an ecosystem is depend on the availability of prey. This can be considered as question 16. A. Biotic factor. B. Idiopathic factor. C. Abiotic factor. D. Catastrophic factor. The answer is biotic factor is the answer. Question number 17. This item is based on the following pyramid of biomass. Which alternative contains organisms that can occupy the above pyramid biomass from the bottom to the top? Bottom is large to small, large to small. From large to grass to small, which is the correctly alternatives? A. Grass, lizard, cricket, chicken. B. Grass, chicken, cricket, lizard. Grass, cricket, chicken, lizard. Grass, cricket, lizard, chicken. The answer must be question 70 is C. Grass, cricket, chicken, lizard is the answer. Question number 18. The two reverse process that play a significant role in observing and releasing carbon dioxide and respectively are A. Photosynthesis and respiration. B. Respiration and assimilation. C. Combustion and photosynthesis. D. Decomposition and respiration. The answer question 18. Photosynthesis and respiration is the answer. Question number 19. Which one of the following adaptation is important for survival of polar bear in a very cold environment? Having A. Thick wrinkled ears. B. Fine silky fur. C. Smaller size. D. Blabbers under the skin. Question 90 is D. Blabbers under the skin. Question number 20. A student concludes that the stage of meiosis on a prepared slide of plant tissue he observed was anaphase 2. What do you think was the reason come to this conclusion? Observation of A. Crossing over between non-sister chromatid of homologous pairs. B. One chromosome from each homologous pair at the poles. C. Divided centromere and separated sister chromatids. D. Reformed nuclear envelope and reappearance of nucleus. The answer is question 20 is C. For divided centromere and separated sister chromatids is the answer. Question number 21. What mechanism was used by Gregor Mendel to protect the garden peas from self-pollinating? He dash A. selecting pure dominant trees for breeding. B. Covered the flower and protects it from pollinating agents. C. Opened the flower bud before pollen matured. D. Sterilized the male part of flower using chemicals. The answer is C. For opened the flower bud before pollen matured. Question number 22. Gregor Mendel crossed two pure breeding traits of pea plants in this experiment and found only one of the traits expressed in the first generation. This shows that the A. Expressed traits must be determined by the dominant allele. B. The allele masked in the F1 generation were lost due to mutation. C. Expressed traits must be determined by the recessive allele. D. Two traits in F1 generation were equally expressed. The answer is A. Expressed traits must be determined by the dominant allele. Question 23. Which one of the following statements correctly describes chromosomes structure? A. Chromosomes are made up of histone-bounded DNA. B. The DNA is wrapped with ribose sugar to form a chromosomes. C. The pair of chromosomes is heterozygous in nature. D. Chromosomes are similar to a gene in structure. 23 is A. 4 chromosomes are made up of histone-bonded DNA. Question number 24. The breeding mechanisms that improves the performance of animals or plants using particular traits is A. Combination of traits. B. Test across. C. Self-breeding. D. Selective breeding. The answer is D. Selective breeding. Question number 25. Which one of the following birth control methods is correctly matched with its function? A. Natural method, preventing the ovum from reaching to the uterus. B. Surgical method, avoids early embryo implantation. C. Hormonal method, prevents follicle development and ovulation. D. Physical method, reduces the lining of the uterus. The answer 25 is C. From hormonal method prevents follicle development and ovulation is the correctly matched. Correction 26. Which one of the following statement is true about female genital mutilation? A. Keeps girls pure and honest. B. Imposes risk of infection. C. Gives acceptance for marriage. D. Helps to deliver baby easily. The answer is B. Imposes risk of infection is the answer. Question 27. Assume that you have a friend who is HIV positive and you are familiar about the case. How can you support your friend if she is injured and needs your help? A. Help your friend without any fear of the virus. B. Call to the other people to protect you from the virus. C. Help your friend with precautions. D. Ignore your friend because of the virus. 27 is A. Help your friend without any fear of the virus. This is not A because the answer is C is a perfect question because help friends with precaution የተለያዩ ጥንቃቄዎችን በመጠቀም ነው የምናግዘው እንጂ ምንም አይነት ጥንቃቄ ሳንጠቀም ስለ ቫይረሱ any fear of virus የሚለው በስ አይሆንም። question C ነው የሚሆነው። question 28. Why are root hairs sufficient in uptake of water from the soil? Because they A. Have high surface area to volume ratio. B. Keep turgidity of the cell. C. Anchor the plant to the ground. D. Show positive hydrotropism. Answer is A. For high surface area to volume ratio is answer. Question 29. What will happen to a plant if the apical dominance is removed through repeated pruning? A. The growth of lateral shoots will be inhibited. B. The side shoots grow quickly and the plant becomes bushy. C. The plant sheds its leaves to withstand the condition. D. Plant elongates and bends to one direction. The answer is B. The side shoots grow quickly, the plant becomes this bush. Question 30. A farmer sowed cotton seeds in a formal land which fulfills the optimum condition for germination. After a few days, he observed newly growing seedlings. Which of the following statement is correct about the farmer's observation? A. The hypogeal germination of the hypocotyl. The growth of plumule above the soil surface. C. Growth of plumule without forming a hook. D. Remaining of the cotyledon below the ground. Question 30 is B. The growth of plumule above the soil surface is the answer. Question 31. Which one of the following plant species is endemic to Ethiopia? A. Guizoscia abyssinica. B. Eucalyptus globulus. Paricia papaya. D. Orocasia barmuleta. Question 31 is Guizoscia abyssinica is the endemic plant species in Ethiopia. Question 32. Which one of the following national parks of Ethiopia is declared as a World Heritage Site and the comparison endemic animals like walia ibex? A. Bale Mountain National Park. B. Rift Valley National Park. C. Yagadi Rasan National Park. D. Semen Mountain National Park. The answer is D. The Semen Mountain National Park is walia ibex. 33. A mother milks her cow every morning and the milk usually forms crude after 3 days. What is the first step to investigate why this change happens? A. Ask a question why the milk forms crude. B. Formulate hypothesis about the reason for milk curdling. C. Take action to prevent the milk from curdling. D. Read scientific articles about the reason for curdling of milk. The answer is 33 is A. For ask a question why the milk forms crude. Question 34. A drug efficiency test was conducted under similar setup on the two groups of infected mice, A and B. Group A were the control, whereas Group B were experimental group. A student gave a placebo to the control group and the drug to experimental group. At the end of the experimental group got better. Which of the following is true about the result? A. Placebo has better effect. B. The experiment was wrong. C. Conclusion cannot be reached. D. The drug has an effect. The answer is D. The drug has an effect. Question 35. Suppose you did an experiment in a biology laboratory and need to report your work to your biology teacher. Which of the following steps is correctly to report the findings? A. Title, prediction, procedure, hypothesis, result, conclusion, evaluation, acknowledgement. Title, hypothesis, prediction, procedure, result, conclusion, evaluation, acknowledgement. C. Title, procedure, result, hypothesis, prediction, evaluation, conclusion, acknowledgement. D. Title, hypothesis, procedure, prediction, conclusion, result, evaluation, acknowledgement. The answer is B. Title, hypothesis, prediction, procedure, result, conclusion, evaluation, acknowledgement is the answer. Question 36. Which biological tool is correctly matched with its function? Theodolite to measure the rate of water flow, centrifuges to collect insects, petri dishes to culture microorganisms, D. Bruti to measure mass of the substance. The answer is C. Petri dish to collect microorganisms is the answer. Question 37. Which one of the following alternatives contains only organic molecules? A. Linoleic acid, glucose, calcium carbonate, and methane. B. Methane, glycerin, linoleic acid, glucose, carbon dioxide, glycine, and linoleic acid. D. Methane, calcium carbonate, linoleic acid, and glucose. The only organic molecules is B. Methane, glycine, linoleic acid, and glucose is the answer. Question 38. A student centrifuges a solution contain plant material in order to separate them based on their mass. After 10 minutes of centrifugation, some of the components moves to the bottom A, others to the middle layer B, and the remaining ones to the top layer C. Which alternative shows the mass of the component in decreasing order? Decreasing order is, the answer is A greater than B greater than C is the answer. Question 39. Which of the following statements shows the future promises of biological science? A. Advising the governmental on how to conserve environment. B. Finding the adaptation mechanism of plant in new conditions. C. Finding alternative living place for human population. D. Using stem cells to repair damaged organs and grow new organ. The answer is D. Using stem cells to repair damaged organs and grow new organs is the answer. Question 40. Which one of the following properties permits insects to freely walk on the water? It's high A. Surface tension, B. Latent heat of vaporization, C. Specific heat capacity, D. Adhesive force. The answer is surface tension, for a property permits insects freely walk on the water. Surface tension. 41. Which one of the following organic molecules has ester bonds in its molecular structure? A. Cellulose, B. Amino acid, C. Triglyceride, D. Glycogen. The answer is triglyceride is the answer. 42. Which of the following statement is correct about structural organization of hemoglobin? It is formed A. by hydrogen bonding between the quaternary and tertiary structures, B. through folding the secondary structure of a polypeptide chain, C. when a polypeptide chain folds itself during protein synthesis, D. through the association of two or more polypeptide chains. The answer is D. through the association of two or more polypeptide chains. Question 43. The presence of large amount of lipid reduces the density of animal. Which function triglyceride is related to this fact? A. Respiratory substrate, B. Waterproofing, C. Thermal insulation, D. Buoyancy. The answer is buoyancy is large amount of lipid reduce the density of animals. D. Buoyancy. Question number 44. The missing number represented by the letter N in the formula of maltose C12HNO11 is, what is the N missing of maltose is A22, B24, C12, D11. The answer is D11. C12H11O11 is maltose. Question number 45. A student conducted a food test on 3 unknown food samples and obtained the result as presented in the table below. These numbers from procedures used, colors change on the food samples after experiment. This is what is the conclude from for mixed with Benedict reagent, blue, red, yellow, mixed with ethanol and poured into water, colorless, mixed with Bayreuth reagent, mauve, iodine solution, brown. What do you conclude from the result of the above experiment? A. Reducing sugars are found in 2 of the samples and proteins are found in all the samples. B. Non-reducing sugars are present in all the food samples at different concentrations. C. Lipids and reducing sugars are absent from all the 3 food samples tested. D. Proteins and reducing sugars are found in all the food samples at equal concentrations. Question 45 is A. Reducing sugars are found 2 samples and proteins are found in all samples is the answer. Question 46. Which one of the following minerals are used as cofactor for the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase? A. Zinc ion, B. ferrous ion, C. cobalt ion, D. magnesium ion. The answer is A. Zinc ions. Question number 47. Which of the following properties of enzymes shows their catalytic nature? A. Changing the nature of the product, B. Being altered in a chemical reaction, C. Being non-specific to substrate, D. Reducing the activation energy. 47 is D. Reducing the activation energy. 48. If an enzyme is named as EC 3.4.11.1 in a systematic naming, what does the number 3 represent? It represents A. Main class of enzyme which indicates the type of reaction it catalyzes. B. Subclass of an enzyme in relation to the source from where it was discovered. C. Subclasses of enzyme in relation to its protein nature. D. Ultra subclass of enzymes that is related to the place where they act. 48 is C. Subclasses of enzymes relation to its protein in nature. 49. In the lock and key model of enzymatic reaction, the activation energy is lowered through A. Permanent modification of the active site of the enzyme, B. Conformational change of the substrate molecules, C. Provision of alternative pathway for the reactions, D. Straining of the substrate molecules bound to the active sites. The answer is D. Straining of the substrate molecules bound to the active site is the answer. Question 15. Which one of the following statements explains how the allosteric inhibitors affect enzymes activity? A. Binding to A. Active site and alternate the shape of the enzyme. B. Active site of an enzyme and blocking the substrate. C. Substrate and preventing it from binding to the active site. D. Site other than the active site and alternating the shape of the active site. Question number 50 is D. For site other than the active site and alternating shape of the active site is the answer. Question 51. Why an enzyme considered special molecules in metabolism? Because A. Reaction cannot totally take place in the absence of enzymes. B. Enzymes are protein molecules that act as a source of energy. C. Metabolic process can produce special products in the presence of enzymes. D. Enzymes facilitate metabolic reactions under controlled psychological conditions. 51 is the answer is D. For enzymes facilitate metabolic reactions under controlled psychological conditions. Question 52. A student made an experiment about effect of temperature on a catalyst of mashed potato. After 3 parallel trials, he obtained the following results. From temperature from 10 to 55 increasing, and time taken to collect 33 centimeter cube in second. Rating 4 centimeter cube per second. The rating 0.69, 2.36, 6.6, 2.75, 0.5, 0.25. This is centimeter cube per second. The mean is trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. At which temperature was the reaction is faster? The reaction is faster is, the answer is D. 30 question, 55, 50, 10, 30 is, the answer is D. 30 degrees Celsius, because of the time trials from the smallest time is selected. It is the fastest. Question 53. Which of the following is the most advanced and recent event in the history of cell biology? A. Sequencing of human genome. B. Description of Golgi apparatus. C. Discovery of the double helix structure of DNA. D. Innovation of the first scanning electron microscope. Question number 53 is A. For sequencing the human genome is the answer. Question 54. A student focused a slide of an onion epidermic cell on the pristine width of 2 mm of fields under microscope. What will the width of each cells if you count 8 cells that fit to the field of view during your observation? A. 4 mm, B. 0.25 mm, C. 60 mm, D. 0.14 mm. The answer is 0.25 mm because of width of cells equals total field of view under a microscope over number of cells equals total is 2 over 8, 2 by 2, 1 over 4, 0.25 millimeter. The answer is B. Question 55. Which one of the following statement is correctly about the difference between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells? The prokaryotic cells have A. Division of liver, whereas eukaryotic cells don't have it. B. Cell wall, whereas eukaryotic cells don't have cell wall. C. Membrane-bound organelles, whereas eukaryotic cells don't have it. D. Small ribosomes, whereas eukaryotic cells have large ribosomes. The answer is 55 is D. Prokaryotic cells have small ribosomes, whereas eukaryotic cells have large ribosomes. Okay, question number 56. Which of the following arrangement of molecules in the fluid mosaic model of cell membrane is called? A. Protein molecules are embedded between the phospholipid bilayers. B. Phospholipids are inserted into bilayers of protein molecules. C. Phospholipids fill the protein like a sandwich to retain its rigidity. D. Phospholipid molecules are peripherally attached to proteins. The answer must be 56 is A. The protein molecules are embedded. The phospholipid bilayers is the answer. Question 57. Which of the 57 which roles? What is the role of cholesterol in the cell membrane? A. It transports hydrophilic molecules into the cell. B. Acts as receptor site for hormones and other signaling molecules. C. Anchors integral protein to the cytoskeleton. D. Reduce the fluidity of cell membranes. The answer must be cell membrane in cholesterol. The role is D. Reduce the fluidity of the cell membrane is the answer. Question 58. Potato slices of equal weight were immersed in 4 different concentrations of salt solutions. The solution were 1.5 molars, 1 molars, 0.5 molars, and 0.1 molars. After a day, the potato slices were reweighted. Which potato slices weighs the least? The one from the concentration will be high. The potato slices are reduced the weight. The answer is question number 58 is D. The higher the molars of the solutions, salt solutions, the potato slices are reduces the weight. Question number 59. This item is the following table about the function of cellular organelles. The site of protein synthesis: mitochondria no, Golgi body, lysosomes no, ribosomes yes. Modification of distribution molecules: mitochondria no, Golgi bodies yes, lysosomes no, ribosomes no. Site of aerobic respiration: mitochondria yes, Golgi bodies no, lysosomes no, ribosomes no. Digest of foreign cells: mitochondria no, Golgi body no, lysosomes yes, ribosomes yes. Which number is the above table show the above table shows the given organelles? A 1 and 3, B 1 and 4, C 1, 2 and 4, D 2 and 3. This question 59 is the answer is two answers. A and C is the answers because 1 and 3 is true, correct from the protein synthesis and modification of distributions. 1 and 3, the site of aerobic respiration is in the table. The 2, A and C are answers. Question number 60. Suppose you took a container and divided it into 2 halves by a membrane which is permeable to water and labeled the 2 halves as A and B. Finally, you add hypertonic solution in A and hypertonic solution in B. What will be the expected result of this experiment? The water levels B rises up, B both A and B rises up, C A remains constant, D B decreases. From the permeable waters levels A and B hypertonic solution and hypertonic solution B. The expected containers of the two membranes. D is the answer for B is decreases. Question 61. A transgenic organism is an organism that A is artificially cultured and harvested, B has received genetic material of another organism, C replicated its DNA without control, D can undergo chromosomal disjunctions. The answer is B has received genetic material to another organisms. A transgenic organism is organism that has received genetic materials of another organisms. Question 62. Which of the following explains how biology takes part in biosensor technology using microorganisms to A. Produce antibiotics, B. Extract metals from ores, C. Monitor pollutants, D. Develop vaccine. The answer is C. For monitor pollutants is the answer. Biosensor technology using microorganisms, micropollutants. Question 63. In the textile industry, microorganisms commercially produced play a significant role in removing stains like grease by changing A. Large insoluble stain molecules into small and soluble ones, B. The color of stain molecules to another color, C. The acidic or basic nature of the stain molecules, D. The temperature of insoluble large stain molecules. The answer is 63 is A is large insoluble stain molecules into small and soluble ones. Question 64. Which one of the following statements is correct about application of biopesticides in agriculture? 8. A. Produce toxic chemicals by crops through modification of their gene. B. Produce insect-resist crops through modification of plant gene using bacterial plasmids. C. Use bacteria and fungi or their metabolites to kill insects. D. Break down glyphosate by an enzyme introduced into plant cell cultures. 64 is the answer is B. Produce insect-resist crops through modification of plant gene using bacterial plasmids is the answer. Question 65. Which one of the following statements is correct? Describe bacteria. A. Multicellular prokaryotic organisms. B. Single-celled eukaryotic organisms. C. Multicellular eukaryotic organisms. D. Single-celled prokaryotic organisms. The bacteria is, the answer is C. Single-celled prokaryotic organisms is the answer. Question 66. Which one of the following features is not the characteristic feature of fungi? They A. Exhibit apical growth of networked hyphae. B. Are either autotrophic, parasitic, or saprophytic. C. Have heloped nuclei and multinucleate hyphae. D. Reproduce asexually through spore production. Question 66 are B. Are either autotrophic, parasitic, and saprophytic are not the characteristics of fungi. The others are characteristics of fungi. Question number 67. Identify the correct mechanism of bacterial reproduction by conjunction. A pair of bacteria sum together and exchange their plasmids. B. Bacteria take up genetic material of dead organisms and integrate into their DNA. C. Mitotic spindles are produced to separate bacterial DNA into two equal parts. D. The receptor bacteria use their pili to pull the donor bacteria during plasmid transfers. The answer is A. For a pair of bacteria come together and exchange their plasmids. The answer is bacterial reproduction by conjugation. Question 68. What is the argument behind the need appropriate host cell for virus to replicate themselves? Because virus A. Lack of double-strand DNA to duplicate themselves. B. Lack metabolic capacity to produce energy outside cells. C. Are obliged saprophytes that can only replicate inside the cells. D. Have cell surface antigen specific to a given cell type. 68 is the answer is B. Lack of metabolic capacity to produce energy outside the cell is the host cell of the virus replicate themselves. Question 69. Which one of the following diseases and their mode of transmission is correctly matched? The disease correctly matched transmission: A. Common cold direct contact. B. Chickenpox fecal oral route. C. Salmonellosis contaminated food. D. Candidiasis to droplet infections. 69 is C is the correct disease mode of transmission correctly matched. Salmonellosis contaminated food is the answer. Question 70. What is the difference between anabolism and catabolism? A. Catabolism is constructive while anabolism is destructive reaction. B. Anabolism is energy absorbing while catabolism is energy releasing process. C. Anabolism is related to respiration while catabolism is to photosynthesis. D. Catabolism is condensation while anabolism is hydrolysis reactions. The answer is 70 is B. Anabolism is energy absorbing while catabolism is energy releasing process is the two anabolism differences. Question 71. Which one of the following process occurs during the light independent phase of photosynthesis? A. Reduction of triose molecules by hydrogen from NADPH. B. Splitting the water molecules into its components. C. Cyclic photophosphorylation of ADP in the thylakoid. D. Excitation of the electrons from chlorophyll 2 molecules. The answer is A for reduction of triose molecules by hydrogen from NADPH. Question 72. As compared to non-cyclic phosphorylation, the cyclic phosphorylation uses A. Photosystem 2 as the first electron donor to NADP. B. Hydrolysis of water to replace electrons lost from photosystem 2. C. Photosystem 1 as the last electron acceptor. D. Photosystem 1 to produce ATP and reduce NADP in the stroma. The answer is C. For photosystem 1 is at least last electron acceptors. 73. Which of the following chemical reaction summarizes the process of photosynthesis? This is every year this appears these questions. The photosynthesis chemical reactions: A. 6 carbon dioxide plus 12 H2O gives us C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. B C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives 6CO2 plus a 6H2O2 plus ATP. C C5H10O5 plus 6O2 gives us 6CO2 plus 12O2 plus 12H2O. D C6O2 plus 6H2O gives us of C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus ATP. 73 is A is the chemical reaction summarizes the process of photosynthesis. 6 mole of carbon dioxide plus 12 H2O gives us of C6H12O6 plus 6 mole of oxygen plus 6 mole of water. Question number 74. Which of the following statements properly describes the structure of ATP? It is made up of A1 adenine base attached to a ribosome sugar and 2 phosphate groups. B2 adenine base attached to a deoxyribose sugar and 2 phosphate groups. C1 adenine base attached to a pentose sugar and 3 phosphate groups. D2 adenine bases attached to a hexose sugar and 3 phosphate groups. The answer is 74 is 3. 1 adenine base attached to a pentose sugar and the 3 phosphate groups are the structure of ATP properly made. Question number 75. Which of the following descriptions about glycolysis is correct? It is a process A that takes place in the cytosol with high demand of oxygen. B of breaking down of glucose molecules to 2 pyruvates. C of producing acetyl CoA from pyruvate by releasing carbon dioxide. D that produce a net of 4 ATP through substrate level of phosphorylations. The answer is B of breaking down of glucose molecules to 2 pyruvates. Question 76. During oxidative phosphorylation, ATP is produced by combining ADP and inorganic phosphate using energy released from A. Transfer of electrons from NADH FADH2 to oxygen. B. Decarbonylation of citrate to oxaloacetate. C. Transport of electrons from complex 4 to complex 1. D. Dehydration of pyruvate to acetylate CoA. 76 is A for transfer of electron from NADH or FADH2 to oxygen. 77. Which of the following comparison between substrate level and oxidative phosphorylation is correct? During substrate level phosphorylation, A. Oxygen is the final electron acceptor, but in oxidative phosphorylation, NAD is the electron acceptor. B. Protons are pumped into the intermembrane space, but the oxidative phosphorylation they are pumped into the cytosol. C. 34 ATP molecules are produced, but in oxidation phosphorylation 4 ATP molecules are produced per glucose molecules. D. ATP is made in the cytosol and matrix, but the oxidative phosphorylation it is made up on the inner membrane of mitochondria. The answer is D. ATP is made in the cytosol and matrix, but the oxidative phosphorylation it is made on the inner membrane of mitochondria is the answer. 78. In a fox population, foxes with thicker fur survived better in cold climate compared to those with thinner fur. However, Foxes with thinner fur survived better when the climate was very hot. What type of natural selection is described in this scenario? A. Directional selection. B. Disruptive selection. C. Diversifying selection. D. Stabilizing selection. 78 is A is for directional selection. Question 79. Which one of the following determines the cause and effect of lactate production during physical exercise? The demand for A. More energy causes muscle cells to ferment respiratory substrate leading to muscle fatigue. B. Lower pH in muscle tissues leads to fermentation of respiratory substrate leading to muscle fatigue. C. A substrate that can easily release energy leads to production of lactate, which results in muscle fatigue. D. An easily absorbable molecules leads to the production of lactate that results in a muscle fatigue. The answer is B. Lower pH in muscle tissue leads a fermentation of respiratory substrates leading to muscle fatigue is the answer. Question 80. The view of biochemical origin of life hypothesis that the first life forms appeared in warm primitive oceans and were heterotrophic. Which one of the following statements support this idea? A. Resistant spores from meteorites reached to the earth and used organic molecules to survive in the environment. B. The formation of abundant organic molecules due to radiations and the absence of oxygen lead to the primitive living organisms. C. Life is the inherent property of the universe which permits unlimited existence through the usage of resources in it. D. The appearance of dust of unknown sources with microbial spores that can feed on the organic molecules. The answer is B. The formation of abundant organic molecules due to radiations and absence of oxygen lead to primitive living organisms. Question number 81. Which statement shows the correct comparison between Lamarck's and Darwin's theory of evolution? A. Darwin claimed that variation is heritable while Lamarck considers variation as acquired traits. Lamarck believed the gradual occurrence of changes while Darwin believed in immediate change of species. Lamarck believed in the development of new traits due to variation while Darwin believed in the occurrence due to use and disuse organs. D. Darwin recognized the origin of species through mutation while Lamarck believed it was through effect of the environment. The answer 81 is A. For Darwin claimed the variation of heritable while Lamarck is considered the variation of the acquired traits is the answer. Question 82. Which of the following is concerning the evidence of evolution? A. Species that live in the same geographic area have the same genetic makeup. B. Species that are closely related share the most similar DNA sequences. C. Organisms which have little genetic relationship show similar behavior. D. Organisms which live in the same area have similar evolutionary history. 82 is B. Species are closely related share the most similar DNA sequences. Question 83. In human evolution, brain size increased over the courses of evolution. Which alternative contains hominids arranged in increasing order of brain size? Homo habilis, A. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthals, Homo sapiens. B. Homo erectus, Homo neanderthals, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens. Homo neanderthals, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens. D. Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo neanderthals, and Homo sapiens. The answer is 83 is A for Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthals, and Homo sapiens is the answer. Question 84. The type of gene mutation that results in the change of a triplet GAG in the normal hemoglobin to another triplet GTG in sickle cell hemoglobin is A. Non-disjunction, B. Substitution, C. Deletion mutation, D. Insertion mutation. The manner is B for substitution of this. 85. Which one of the following statements correctly explains the genetic drift? It is a change in allele frequency due to A. Relocation of species into other areas, B. Chance-based sampling error, C. Independent assortment of chromosomes, D. Non-random mating of individuals in a population. 85 is the answer is B. A chance based on sampling error. Question 86. Gene flow is the movement of genetic material, A. Where organisms either join or leave a population, B. Without affecting the balance of gene pool of a population, C. Without altering the allele frequency, D. That drives a population towards perfections. 86 is A. Gene flow is the movement of genetic material where organisms either join or leave a population. Question 87. Which of the following option is a constituent of peripheral nervous system? A. Spinal cord, afferent nerve, and somatic sensory nerve. B. Afferent nerve, efferent nerve, somatic motor nerve. C. Afferent nerve, brain, automatic motor nerve. D. Somatic sensory nerve, spinal cord, and efferent nerve. 87 is the answer is B. Afferent nerve, efferent nerve, and somatic motor nerves are the peripheral nervous system. Question 88. Which of the following structure of neurons is correctly paired? A. Myelin sheath, reduce nerve impulse transmission. B. Dendrites protects the neuron and insulates it. C. Axon receives signal from the muscle. D. Cell body maintains structures and supply energy. 88 is the answer is D. Cell body maintains the structures and supply energy is the answer. 89. Which of the following statements explain how nerve impulse is occurred? It occurs as a result of A. The movement of neurotransmitter molecules out of cell body. B. Balanced charge across the membrane of dendrites. C. Charge difference across the membrane of axon. D. The movement of neurotransmitter molecules into myelin sheaths. The answer is 89 is C. Charge difference across the membrane of the axon. Question 90. Which one of the following statements is an acceptable justification of the importance of synapses? The synapses is A. A conductor of action potential towards the end of the dendrite. B. Is a connection between the appendix of the conjugative neurons. C. The mechanism of protecting the axon from external damage. D. Facilitator of the reverse flow of neurotransmitter chemical in neurons. The answer is 90 is B for the connection between the appendage of conjugative neurons is the answer. Question 91. What is the main function of dermis of the skin? A. Temperature regulation in homeostasis. B. Synthesis of hair and nail proteins. C. Production of skin pigments. D. Prevention of entry of pathogens. 91 is A for temperature regulation in homeostasis is the answer. Question 92. This item is based on the following diagram about eye structures. The eye structures. So this Y, this is X. The part of A represented by letter Y. The letter Y. The part of A is A pupil, B optic nerve, C ciliary muscle, D iris. 92 is B for optic nerves is the answer. Question number 93. A man observed an elementary school student spinning around and realized that none of them could properly walk upright after sudden interruption of the spinning. Which of one of the following is correct reason for these conditions? A. The nerve impulse was transmitted after the spinning was stopped. B. The fluid in semicircular canal kept moving after the spinning was interrupted. C. The fluid in semicircular canal stopped immediately when the body stopped spinning. D. The sensory cells were unable to detect the stimulus after the spinning was quieted. The answer 93 is B. The fluid in semicircular canal kept moving after the spinning was interrupted. Question 94. Which of the following is correct description of hormones? They are chemical messengers that A. are produced in glands that contain ducts. B. targets only the site of secretion. C. transmit message faster than the nerve system. D. regulates many physiological processes. 94 is D. From the description of hormones is regulates many psychological processes, physiological processes. 95. Homeostasis is a mechanism of A. protecting the body from pathogens, B. keeping external environment stable, C. keeping internal body environment constant, D. adjusting the environment relative to body conditions. 95 is C for keeping internal body environment constant. 96. Which one of the following is the main function of Bowman's capsule of the human kidneys? A. water preservation, B. ultrafiltration blood, C. mineral reabsorption, D. prevent backflow of urine. 96 is B from ultrafiltration of blood is the answer. Question 97. What is the justification for feeling warm while sweating a lot in very humid conditions? A. unequal distribution of ions on membrane of cells. B. an increase in metabolic rate as temperature increase. C. is the lower rate of evaporation of water from the skin surface. D. closure of glands in the epidermal layers of the skin. 97 is the answer is C. The lower rate of evaporation of water from the skin of the surface is humid conditions. Question 98. Among the following statements, one brief describes the concept of climate change. It is the dash global change in the temperature, perception, and wind conditions. B. gradual change of atmospheric temperature over a short period of time. C. sudden change in an average rainfall of a limited area. D. radical change of local weather conditions that sustain for less than a year. 98 is A is the answer for global change of temperature, precipitation, and wind condition is briefly for climate changes. Question 99. As a result of human activity, huge amount of carbon dioxide has been accumulated in the atmosphere. What is the consequence of this phenomena? A. reduction in the sea level and death of aquatic animals. B. preventing certain amount of heat escaping back to the space. C. Drop in temperature of Earth and death of aquatic organisms. D. Increased the rate of uptake of carbon dioxide by green plants. 99 is the answer is B. Preventing certain amount of it escaping back to the space. The last question is 100. What was the main objective of United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change? UNFCCC. A. Prohibition of developing countries from setting up big industries that could affect the climate. B. Donation of high carbon projects related to climate change by the developing countries. C. Reduction of monopoly utilization of border crossing rivers to prevent climate change. D. Prevention of dangerous man-made interference with the climate system. The answer is from the developing countries probably setting big industries affect the climate. United Nations, the main object is the answer is prohibition of developing countries is the answer. Thank you very much. Please subscribe, like and share. Thank you.